Hello, it's Danielle again, and I'm back with the second episode of Danielle and Company. This is a web series that is dedicated to ensuring that the world knows how super fabulously dope my friends are. But as you can see, it is just Danielle tonight, no company. And that is because, number one, episode two is very much overdue. I'll talk about that later. But number two is because I've been doing some reading. I've been listening to some interviews, podcasts, reading interviews, and just different people's stories and experiences. And all of these things surround uterine fibroid tumors. Many of you know that I've had a very special, unique experience with uterine fibroid tumors, and I kept seeing it everywhere. And I said, okay, it's time for me to share the story again because there's somebody out there that doesn't know. There's somebody out there that needs a reminder, and y'all know that this is my favorite testimony to share. So I'm never gonna not share it because there's always somebody that needs to know that God is still out here working miracles, and I want to be that one. I want to be the one to let you know that He's still working miracles and He's still faithful and He still hears your prayers. But let's get into this. So, for those of you who don't know, you may want to Google this and do your own research. But basically, a uterine fibroid tumor is a mass that can grow on the inside or from the outside of your uterus. Some people have them and don't know. Some people have them and know and have to live with them. Some people elect to have them shrunken. Some people have to have them removed, and sometimes they don't just take the tumors; they take other things. I'm gonna talk about all of that in my story. First of all, hair. Okay, so just got a fresh relaxer, just got a fresh haircut. I told my hairstylist, her name is Natasha over at Conceited Salon over on Jefferson. I said, listen, ma'am, come here. I said, now, you see all this hair on my head? I need for it to be gone. I need it to be as short as possible. The way I'm trying to live right now, I want to be able to tie my hair down at night, sleep, and then wake up and then take it off and not have to do anything to it. I want as minimal, what they call it, as minimal manipulation as possible. So if we need to go low like this, then let's go low because I'm tired of combing hair. Simply put. So it may be a while before I go back to wigs and braids and all of that stuff. We'll see. But for right now, I love the way I'm living with this short pixie cut. Y'all know I love short hair. So anyway, let's get into the story. So sorry, y'all. I'm very ticky about my hair. Anyway. So it was April 2019, and I was living the dream. I was thriving in my career. Active in my church. I was active in my community. I was a normally functioning adult. I was healthy. No serious underlying conditions aside from anemia, which is tied to iron deficiency. But other than that, I was in the gym 3-4 times a week. I was traveling when I wanted to. I was just moving around, and I was enjoying my life. I was 30, and I was enjoying my success, and I was just enjoying life. But I was in the club every week, and I'm hanging with people that I know I'm not supposed to be hanging with, and I'm doing things that I know I'm not supposed to be doing. And I'm at the day parties every Saturday and every Sunday, and I knew that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. I knew that I wasn't on task. I knew that I was living outside of God's will for my life. And I knew that as the leader that God called me to be, as the influencer, as the enthusiast, as the woman that God called me to be, I knew that I was living beneath his standard for my life. And had that experience not happened, had I not experienced that, I don't know who I would be. Period. I don't know if I would be. I don't know who I would be. I don't know who I would be as a lady. I don't know who I would be as a woman of God. I don't know who I would be in this world today if it had not been for that experience. And I'm thankful to God for allowing it, because I learned so much about what I was in. I was on the outside now. I learned so much about what I was in just by getting on the outside of it and looking in. And I'm so thankful to God for saving me. I'm so thankful to God for delivering me from that trap, because I was trapped. I'm so thankful to God. Somebody needs to know, just by watching this, that God is still able to perform miracles. Somebody needs to know that he is still able. Somebody needs to know that he hears you when you pray. Somebody needs to know that. And I want to be the one to share that with you. I want to be that one. I was in the resurrection production at my church. Every year up until that point, I had been casted as the mother of Jesus, Mary. And that role, preparation for that role, requires more than just learning your lines. It requires a deeper dive into the Word of God, into the Chronicles of Mary, into the Chronicles of Jesus, like actually studying the role of Jesus' mother. It also requires a deeper interface, so a deeper dive into one's personal relationship with Christ. I had to have that relationship in order to minister effectively. And so, like I said, preparing for that role is more than just learning your lines. It's really cultivating that relationship and allowing it to take root, not just for the production, but henceforth from the production. And so that year I was not in alignment. I was doing it. I literally, that year, all I did was learn my lines. And it wasn't ministry for me that year. It was simply a performance. I was not in alignment. And once it was done, once the production had wrapped up, I felt bad. I felt ashamed because he knew. Not really guilty, but I'm very sensitive to how we present ourselves to the people of God when it comes to ministry. And I was not in alignment with God's will. It was merely a performance, and it made me feel bad, but I also felt bad physically. I started to feel sick, and I was tired. My body was drained, and I was weary, and I was tired. I felt bad. And thankfully, my mom lived a few minutes away from the church, so I couldn't even drive to Zachary that night. I was just tired, and I knew I wasn't gonna make it home. So I went by my mom's house. I said, "Can I stay here tonight, and then just drive back to Zachary and get ready for church in the morning? Can I just stay here tonight?" Because I just knew that I wasn't going to make it home. And yeah, I'm so thankful. I'm thankful to God, because had I came home and woke up the next morning, I would have been in here by myself, and I would have been in trouble. I woke. It was 5 a.m. I woke up at my mom's house. It was around 5 o'clock, and I woke up and I thought I had gas. So it hurt bad. It felt like a stabbing pain. Um, so I just took some Pepto Bismol and I went back to sleep. And I just thought that, okay, I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna sleep it off, and I'm gonna wake up and feel somewhat better and be able to drive home and prepare for church today. And I took the Pepto Bismol, lay back down, and I got back up probably not even an hour later, and I said, I don't know what else to do. My body is hurting. I got on all fours. You get on all fours and try to push it out. That didn't work. So I balled up in like the fetal position just to ball my body up to see if that would work. And that didn't work either. And I'm like, I have no idea where this pain is coming from. I have no idea what to do to get rid of it. And so at this point, I'm literally laying on the floor and I'm crying like a baby. And I usually do pretty good with pain, but I was laying on the floor and I was crying like a baby, and I didn't know what to do. My mom's trying to talk me through it. Danny, what did you do? What did you eat? What happened? And I said, I don't know. All I know is that I'm in severe pain and I need to be seen. So my sister-in-law drove me to the urgent care, and I said, I think I have gas, but it hurts really, really, really bad, and I need your help. So he did an exam. He just started to like press where I said it was hurting because they needed to rule out appendicitis. And so he's pressing where my appendix is, and that's not hurting. But he went I don't know if he went lower or higher. I don't know what was going on. But he started pressing. I said, okay, that's it right there. He said, okay, that's not your appendix. I said, but that's what hurts. He said, okay, you need to go to the ER right away. So I left the urgent care, and my sister-in-law drove me to Baton Rouge General. And I remember checking in, and I was looking for somewhere in the waiting room to lay down because I couldn't sit up. That hurt. I couldn't walk, you guys. It was terrible. Like, I literally wanted to crawl everywhere because walking hurt so bad. Like, I was crying. I couldn't sit down. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't lay down, honestly, on either side, my stomach or my back. But I had to lay down because that was literally the only thing that I could do in the waiting room. And people looking at me like, what's wrong with her? Y'all, I was literally laying down, and I was just like, I was crying, and I was in such pain. So when they finally called me to the back, they put me in the chair, the chair that you sit in, so that they can take your blood. So I'm sitting in that chair, and everybody around me was just so happy. And I'm just like, I need one of y'all to come tend to me right now. I'm in pain. Y'all run around here talking about Starbucks and going to get breakfast and going to get eggs and bacon and biscuits and coffee and things. And I'm sitting here in pain. Y'all walking around here happy, and I'm not happy right now. And if I'm not happy, that means somebody else ain't about to be happy up in here either. And I need for somebody to come see about me. You guys, I'm very sensitive too. I have friends in the medical profession, but that day I was angry. And I was trying my best not to be the difficult patient. But the fact is, I was in pain, and them people was prioritizing breakfast, and I was upset. Somebody come take this blood and give me some medicine now before I really cut up back here. It was bad, y'all. It was so bad. So I'm sitting there crying. I'm angry because I wanted to scream. I was upset. And I was in pain. And they took the blood, and then they put me in a bed, and they started me on a morphine drip, and so I'm getting morphine for the pain, and they tested my blood. I don't remember. Actually, I don't remember going back for an ultrasound, but apparently, some sort of scan was done, or some sort of scan was done to where they could see what was going on. So they tested my blood. My blood was fine. All they saw was the anemia. But when the doctor came in, she said, "Okay, there's a large mass in your abdomen. We don't know what that is, but it's likely cancer." And I said, "Okay." This was my face. I was like, "Okay." And she said, "Is someone here with you?" I said, "I think my mom's here now." So she said, "Well, I'm going to have her come back here, and then I'm going to talk to her." Apparently, the reaction that I gave her was not the one that she was looking for. Because when she called my mom, it was my mom and my sister and Blair. They came back to the room, and she told them the same thing that she told me. "We found a mass, and we don't know where it comes from, but it's likely cancer." And I remember my mom and my sister sitting there saying, "Okay." You guys, it wasn't that we were concerned, but it's like, okay, you're giving me this news without giving me an action plan. You're giving me this prognosis without telling me what you're going to do next. I don't care about what that is. What's your plan to take care of me? So they gave me some Norco. Let me stop right here. So I read about a study as it relates to Black women, pain, and doctors. Apparently, they think that we are better able to bear pain than most other people. And so sometimes we're disregarded. Sometimes we're not given as intensive a care as somebody else would receive. And you can fact check me on that, but I know it to be true personally, because I'm telling them that my pain on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 13, and you send me home with Norco and I can't walk. So they give me Norco, and then they say, "Okay, this is what you need to do. You need to set up care with a hematologist, and you need to see your gynecologist." I said, "Okay, cool." Set up an appointment with, I never set up the appointment with the hematologist, but I set up an appointment with my gynecologist. And you guys, I will never forget this doctor's appointment for as long as I live. First of all, my stomach was huge. One of the doctors that I saw said, "You look like you're about 32 weeks pregnant." Now, I don't know anything about being pregnant, but I do know that my stomach was big, and I began to waddle, and my back began to hurt, and I'm crying. It was like my hormones were off. So I felt pregnant, but there was no baby on the inside of me. There was something of significant mass and size on the inside of me. Now, you guys, I never saw any of this coming. I never knew that I had fibroid tumors. Everything was normal. I never had any monthly pain, any outlying symptoms. Everything was normal. I went to the gynecologist, and at this point, all my clothes are big sweatshirts, big shirts, big pants, because I look pregnant, but I'm not pregnant. And this happened out of nowhere. So you see me one day, literally stomach flat. I mean, just fine. And then the next day you see me, I'm literally holding my back. and I'm walking because my stomach is out here. And I was, y'all, I was so embarrassed, and I stopped going to work. I went on leave, and I had to go on leave. I couldn't work because I couldn't walk. I could barely get dressed by myself. Um, my mom and my sister came and got me, and they moved me in with them because I couldn't drive. I was always on painkillers. So I couldn't drive, I couldn't walk, I couldn't dress myself. So my mom and my sister came here, they got me, they moved me in with them, and they took care of me. So they did everything for me. They would help me to the bathroom, they would help me get dressed. My sister would drive me to all of my appointments. Um, I had to stop everything and allow other people to take care of me. It was crazy. So I went. My sister took me to the gynecologist, and she looked at my stomach. She did an exam, and she said, "Okay, yeah, these are fibroid tumors. How long have you had these?" I said, "Ma'am, I don't know anything about this. I've never had this before. I didn't even know that I had these. I had no idea that these existed. I don't know anything. That's why I came here for answers." She said, "You've never had any symptoms?" I said, "No, ma'am." "So they just showed up out of nowhere?" "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Do you plan on having children?" I said, "Yeah." "Yeah? How old are you?" "I'm 30. "Have you considered adoption?" And I said, "Why?" She said, "We're not going to be able to save it. We're not going to be able to save your organs. We're going to have to take all of that out. These tumors are huge. They're huge. And the reason you're in such pain is because they're using your body for blood, because they're dying off. As they die off, they use your body for blood, and it's called degenerating until they die off. Once they die off, you'll know because the pain will have decreased significantly." I said, "Okay." She said, "Have you considered surrogacy? I mean, do you have anybody that would do that for you?" And I'm just like, why is she telling me this? Why am I having a conversation that I wasn't prepared to have regarding my ability to have children? She left the room, and she said, "I'm going to give you a prescription for some Dilaudid." Dilaudid is between 5 to 8 times the strength of morphine. It's usually given to C-section patients. It is up there with heroin. I did my research, and I read that the pills are about maybe of an eighth of an inch in diameter. And wait, is it diameter? About an eighth of an inch across. And I had to take half of it because a whole one would basically put me in a really bad space. Just half of that tablet, it messed with my breathing to the point where if I took that, I had to take a cough medicine. So she gave me Dilaudid and she gave me promethazine, and that helped with the cough. So I'm on Dilaudid and I'm on promethazine. Y'all, when I tell you out of my mind, when I wasn't taking the medicine, I was okay. But when I had to take the medicine, you guys, it was crazy. It was crazy. I was in and out of the emergency room because everything just hurt. Everything hurt. It just always hurt all the time. And I'm like, bro, what does this mean? What does all of this mean? God, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to show me? What is this? I was so confused. But I knew that He was my strength. I knew that He was my source. I knew that He was my guide. I knew that He was my light. He was my encouragement. He was all those things to me. And I'm sorry, back to the gynecologist appointment. She left the room and I sat on that table and I cried. And I cried and I cried and I cried because this lady just told me they're going to have to do a hysterectomy and I don't have any kids. I don't have any children. How am I supposed to tell that to, you know, my future husband? How am I supposed to share that with somebody who wants to start a family with me? I don't want to adopt. At least, I mean, that's my preference. I don't want to adopt. I don't want nobody else to have my babies. I want to have my own kids. But for somebody to come in here and tell me that I'm not going to have that option because of something that just naturally occurred overnight outside of my control, and you mean to tell me that I'm not going to be able to have kids? It was a sad day. It was sad, and it was hard to talk about that with my sister. It was hard to talk about that with my mom. But I had to talk about it because I had to let them know what it was. It was scary. It was scary. And so at any rate, I had to set up care with an oncologist because we thought that they were certain that it was cancer. So I went to the oncologist. Her office was in New Orleans, and my sister had to drive me out there. And we get there, and she's looking at me. At this point, by this time I had already had an MRI, which was crazy because it lasted about an hour and a half. They inject you with a dye, and in my case, they had to give me a pain reliever as well because everything hurt. So they gave me the dye, and then they gave me a pain reliever that was compatible to what was going on, and I would have to sit in they would scoop me back into the tube or whatever, and I would have to hold my breath for like a minute while they take the pictures and stuff like that. And so she let me look at the image once she was done, and all I saw was my little body, because I had lost a lot of weight by this time. All I saw was my little body and literally just tumors and masses just taking up the whole abdominal section. And when I left, the tech said to me, she said, "I'm praying for you." And I said, "Thank you." She said, "I wish you all the best." I said, "Thank you." So we get to the oncologist. She's an oncologist, gynecologist, and she was going to be the one to do my surgery. She said, we're looking at the MRI, and she said, have you considered, adoption? Do you have any kids? And I said, "No, ma'am." She said, "Have you considered adoption?" I said, "No." By this time, you guys, I have been on the medication for so long. I said, "Ma'am, look, I just want the pain to go away. I just want to get back to normal." And she said, "Okay, I understand. You do realize that hysterectomy is the best option for this. Have you considered a surrogate?" And it's crazy because my sister's having this conversation with my doctor, and she's just like, "Would I be able to have her baby for her?" And to hear my sister say that, I'm just like, wow. You willing to carry my baby for me? it was during that time that I was able to see the hearts of the people that were closest to me, and I'm thankful for that. Um. Anyway, so um, the doctors, I told her, I said, "Ma'am, please do what you can to save my uterus. Do what you can to save my reproductive organs because I'd like to have my own babies." And she said, "We're going to do everything that we can. However, I need you to set up care with a fertility specialist because if we cannot save your organs, you want to be able to freeze your eggs. You want to be able to preserve them." I said, "Okay." So I went to the fertility specialist. This guy had been in practice for 30, almost 40 years. And he said, "You don't need to have a hysterectomy. You can have those lasered out. We can reach in with the laser and laser those out. We got a robot back there that can reach in and just," he said, "We don't have to freeze your eggs. You're fine." I said, "Sir, if you could convince the lady who's gonna be doing my surgery of what you just told me, I think we're gonna be good." So he said, "I will be there if we need to freeze your eggs. I will be there for you." So now we talking hysterectomy talk, and I'm like, but wait a minute, you guys, I would be up all hours of the night, up listening to sermons and writing in my prayer journal and reading my Bible and really just seeking God's will for my life, because I knew that He didn't bring me to that place, to that point, to fail, to be without, to be stripped of something that I know He promised me. So just fasting and praying. You guys, I did my research on, because I asked the doctor, I said, "Can we just shrink these so I can go on about my business?" She said, "No, they're far too large to shrink. We're going to have to take them out." So I looked up foods that aided in fibroid growth, and I cut those foods out of my diet. I said, what foods are good for not necessarily shrinking the fibroids, but ensuring that they don't grow. I found out about dandelion root tea and turmeric tea, and I ate lots of nuts that had like omega-3s and ate lots of fruit. There wasn't much that I could eat because the tumors had taken up so much of my abdominal space that my stomach was literally like crammed into a small space. So there wasn't much that I could eat, which is why I lost weight so drastically. But I did those things to take care of myself, because I didn't want to be on the drugs all the time. I wanted to be whole again. So everything's everything. We getting the surgery set up. Everything's good. It was the Sunday before Memorial Day. I was hanging out with some friends, just hanging out, trying to get my mind off of what was going on. And I remember being super hot that day, and I went home and I prayed. No, this is what happened. I came home and I checked my email and I found the plan for surgery, and I opened it up and I scrolled down, and the plan was to have a hysterectomy performed. And I said, but wait a minute. I thought we was only doing that if they couldn't get the tumors. Whoa. I didn't prove that. I didn't sign up for that. I asked that lady. I said, look, let that be your last resort. Don't do no hysterectomy. You do what you can to save my uterus. You do what you can to save that. Yeah, I got in this house and I prayed in the Holy Spirit like never before. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. I said, God, you know what? I got your peace tonight. I got your peace going into that surgery. I don't need no distractions. I don't need nothing negative going on around me right now. I just need praise, worship. I need attitude of victory because that's what I'm claiming. I'm claiming the victory. Best of all, Lord, I'm claiming that your will be done. Your will is that I prosper. That's your will. That is what I'm speaking over my life, and that is what I'm claiming. I'm claiming the victory. I don't care what no doctor got to say. I'm claiming the victory. And that's on period. That's it. I don't care what nobody else got to say. This is me and you right now. And I'm thanking you in advance for the victory. We got up the next morning. We drove down to New Orleans because that's where they had to do my surgery. Drove down to New Orleans and get to the hospital. I remember us being in a panic about parking, and I said, "Look, just drop me off. I'm not about to be fussing with y'all over no parking. It's too early in the morning for that." So, we get to the doctor. We check in, all the good stuff. They take me to the back, tell me what I ought to do. I got dressed, and then they started my IVs. So they started the drugs. You guys, listen. The drugs when you get a surgery, I can't even describe it, man. That's peace. That is some peaceful sleep. Anyway, so the nurses were getting me set up. I said, "Hey, look, I'd like to speak to the doctor because they had a plan. They had a plan that was emailed to me on last night, and the only thing on the plan was hysterectomy, and I didn't sign up for that. I didn't agree to that. So can I speak with the doctor before we go into surgery?" And she said, "Well, most likely if they put it on the plan, then that's what they're going to do today." I said, "Ma'am, bring the doctor in so I can speak to her myself." She came in the room and she said, "So what's the problem?" I said, "Ma'am, y'all sent me a plan that said that the only thing y'all was doing today was a hysterectomy, and I thought that we agreed that the hysterectomy would be the last resort. Now what's going on?" She went to her little computer, pulled up the MRI. She said, "Ma'am, the tumors are too big. We will not be able to save your organs. The tumors are too big. We have to take your uterus out. We already discussed this. There's nothing else for us to do." I said, "All right." By this time, the medicine had started to kick in. So I couldn't even feel anxious. I couldn't feel angry. I couldn't feel upset. I couldn't feel stressed. I'm just laying there and I remember saying, "Lord, let your will be done. Let your will be done. Let these people do this surgery morally, ethically, conservatively, and according to your will, Lord. I'm trusting that your will be done on that operation table back there." And I was confident by that point, you guys. At that point, I didn't care what that lady had said to me, what she had told me. I didn't care. I was so confident that God would allow his will to prevail. We get back there, they start the medicine, and I'm just really calm. They said, "Hey, Miss Danielle, if you weren't here this morning, where would you be?" I said, "I would be at a Yankees game in Tahiti." They said, "Tahiti?" I said, "Yes, Tahiti." She said, "Okay, we about to take you to Tahiti." I said, "What?" Y'all, I was out in like 3 seconds. I woke up and I looked around and I said, "Okay, I'm in recovery and my surgery has been completed." It was at that time, y'all, I was kind of nervous because I'm kind of scared of learning the truth. because those people took me back there to do a hysterectomy. That was the plan. They took me back there to do a hysterectomy. I asked the recovery nurse, I said, hi, are you my nurse? She said, yes. I said, do I still have my uterus? She said, yes, Miss Nelson, you still have your uterus. I said, thank you. And I went back to sleep. I knew it. 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 I knew that God would not fail me. I knew that He would take care of me. He performed a whole miracle in that operating room. Then people took me back there to do a hysterectomy. They was going to take everything out. Everything. And when I woke up, I said, ma'am, do I still have my uterus? She said, yes. I said, okay. And I went back to sleep. The very next morning, so they got me in a room, whatever. And the very next morning, the doctor came in, and y'all, when that lady walked in that room, she was looking at me like, it was almost as if she wanted to say, what did you do? I know God, lady. I know God. I mean, she sat down at her little computer, pulled up the images from the surgery. She said we pulled out 11 tumors. There was 2 the size of honeydew melons, 1 the size of a grapefruit, and 8 the size of plums. So I had 11 large fruit-sized tumors floating around in my body that literally showed up overnight. And she showed me pictures of the tumors and what they looked like. And they were it was like just big old, like just masses of just tumor. And she showed me a picture of my uterus. She said, so basically we gave you a new uterus. We're able to reconstruct it and give you a new uterus. Now you will be able to carry your own babies. But you'll only be able to deliver them via C-section. I said, ma'am, that's fine. I just want to carry my own babies. That's it. I was it was a rough hospital stay because as the anesthesia wore off, I was nauseous and didn't have no voice, and they wouldn't let me go home because I couldn't eat nothing because I was just sick. I was sick the whole time. So recovery was a challenge, but I'm thankful to God for sparing my life because that experience gave me a brand new significance for life. It gave me a brand new significance for my purpose. Because I know that whatever baby I bring into, Jesus Christ, whatever baby I bring into this world is going to have a significant impact. Just for the simple fact that its nesting place, its seeding soil was almost taken away. That type of stuff that makes the enemy real mad. My baby ain't even here yet, and the enemy just, you already up to your shenanigans. Nah, I bind that devil in the name of Jesus. Cannot have my baby. I'm thankful to God for sparing me, for sparing my womb, where I carry my baby, where I carry my purpose. For sparing me, for sparing my life, for allowing me to share this testimony of His faithfulness, for allowing me to share this story of literally how His miraculous power just, it built me up. It built my faith. That there alone is the reason nobody can tell me what God cannot do. Because I am a miracle. I've literally witnessed his miraculous power for myself. This is my encouragement to you. If you are in a situation, always pray for the will of the Lord to be done. That's it. Pray for his will to be done. There will be glory after. I'll never not share this testimony. I will share this testimony for the rest of my life because there is somebody out there that needs to know that God is still out here working miracles. He is still faithful to perform. He is still faithful to do what he said he will do. And I just want to be that one to share that with you. I'm always here. Always here if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns. I will say this. I will add this. Listen. Don't be afraid to switch doctors. I know that gynecology is a very sensitive thing. It's a very sensitive and intimate subject. But if you can, find a doctor that cares about you. Find a doctor that cares about your body. And you're going to know. You're going to know. You're going to know. Find somebody that cares about you. I've recently had to switch my doctors because y'all know. Man, I pray that this lifts somebody up out of a low place, that it gives somebody hope. Not even just about uterine fibroid tumors, but just the simple fact that God is still out here being God. He is still out here being faithful. There was nothing that I did. There was nothing that I could have done to convince those people to not do a hysterectomy. There was nothing that I could say. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't say, please don't do that. No, it was God. It was God. And I'm thankful. I'm so thankful to God for sparing me, for sparing my body, for sparing my baby, for sparing my purpose. I pray that this blesses you. And again, I'm here for prayers. If you need that support, questions, comments, concerns, I'm here for you. We're friends, remember? See ya.